Well, hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. Take a look at your screen. That is what I would like to see. You got Barack Obama. You got James Comer. You got Clapper. You got Brennan. And yes, you have Joe Biden, all part of not just a cover-up, not just collusion, but you have these groups, this group of ass clowns guilty of treason. There is no statute of limitations on treason. But here's the problem, folks. Republicans do not have the stones to charge the mopes you see on your screen with treason. They tried to run a coup on the United States of America. They tried to overthrow a sitting United States president, being President Trump. We now know they knew before the election of 2016, Russia had no part in working with the Trump campaign, much less trying to steal or rig the election. They knew after. Yet Barack Obama ordered his intelligence community to go come up with an alternative assessment, and then they tried to spread that through leaks and lies and news reports that somehow President Trump was working with Russia through it all. The impeachments unfold, you name it. This was treason at the highest levels of our government. So I ask you now, what will Republicans do? Will they just say, oh, we told you so, roll over, and no accountability? We had no accountability through COVID. We had no accountability after the first Iraq war. We had no accountability with the biolabs in Ukraine. We have no accountability with anything, especially when it comes to President Trump. No accountability with January 6th and the persecution of Republicans and conservatives and Trump supporters. So what will happen now? Republicans, get on board with the program. Americans want accountability, and sadly, folks, what I'm here to predict to you is what I've been telling you all along. There will be no justice. We'll go through on this podcast of why I don't think there'll be justice, but we'll also spell out why public justice, though not as good as judicial justice, though public justice will be far-reaching in all of this. Before we get to that, I want to tell you about my friends over at Colonial Metals Group. Listen, we know that BRICS nations were meeting to try to sink the U.S. dollar. We know that they are waging a virtual Pearl Harbor on the U.S. dollar. What will that mean for your stock portfolio? It may not be good. Now, even as stocks are rising, what have we seen gold do? Gold has been going up. Why? Because you have central banks across the globe buying up gold in record numbers. We've seen records amount, at least we're told, of gold coming into Fort Knox. Now, if that's a lie, that also is a reason to buy gold, because if Fort Knox doesn't have the gold we think it has in it, then, again, we've got another issue that would skyrocket gold. So all of this leads me to believe the other pillar of the reason you invest in gold is to protect your portfolio. There's nothing like a hard asset in your possession. Change a 401k or IRA into a gold metals, precious metals IRA. Go to Colonial Metals. freegoldguide.com/grant. That's freegoldguide.com/grant. Just take a shot of that QR code. It'll take you right there. freegoldguide.com/grant or 800-458-7356. Make gold part of your portfolio today. All right, with that, I want to get a very big show. I'm excited that all my conspiracy theories, here's another one that has been proven true, up next.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, thank you, folks, for joining me. I'll tell you what, President Trump released a video that is getting all kinds of publicity because he uses the anonymous folks to explain what happened, okay, what unfolded Friday. We reported it on the Real America's Voice show, that 114 pages of memos and emails and other documents that show Barack Obama himself orchestrated this potential coup of the United States government, orchestrated the attacks on President Trump, orchestrated the fake news. He ordered the intelligence community to concoct a fake intelligence assessment using the Steele dossier, by the way, that we know was debunked. A dossier that the Clinton campaign paid for. Barack Obama himself orders it. So what does that mean? It means that all of those clowns, the clowns that I showed on your screen, these guys, these mopes, these stooges, they committed treason. James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Biden, and yes, Barack Obama, all the way to the left. And do you know, folks, what is really so amazing? AI created that photo. I literally went into AI, my ChatGPT. I said, hey, create a photo of these clowns in a prison jumpsuit looking somber. And that's what it did for me. AI is pretty amazing in what it's able to create these days. But those are the ones that we want in prison. So President Trump, let's start. He released a few videos, but this is one of them that spells it all out.
This is not speculation. This is documented fact. For years, they told us Trump was the threat to democracy, but the real threat was the attempt to remove him. On December 9, 2016, inside the Obama White House, a classified meeting took place. Present were CIA Director John Brennan, DNI James Clapper, FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and several senior officials. Barack Obama was there. And what they discussed would become the most coordinated political deception in U.S. history. Just days earlier, an internal intelligence community report concluded Russia had not altered the outcome of the 26th election. On December 7, DNI Clapper reaffirmed it. Quote, foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on critical infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. End quote. But that wasn't the story the Obama administration wanted. So after that White House meeting, Clapper's executive assistant sent out an email. The order: prepare a new intelligence assessment, one that aligned with the president's request. That's right, intelligence was politicized at the highest levels under the direction of a sitting president to frame the incoming one. They buried prior reports. They inflated the Steele dossier. They reversed conclusions. And they launched the January 6, 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment, used to trigger investigations, media hysteria, FISA warrants, and ultimately impeachment. It was a soft coup. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has now declassified the emails, memos, and reports. In her words, this was a treasonous conspiracy orchestrated by Barack Obama and carried out by key members of his administration. General Flynn calls it the greatest crime in American history. Others are demanding arrests, indictments, and immediate action from the DOJ, because if this stands, our constitutional republic falls. We now have names. We have documents. We have sworn testimony. No more theories, only accountability. My friends, we are all anonymous, and we speak for the silenced, and we are awake, and we are everywhere, and we will not stop until the truth is reckoned with.
Well, I want the truth reckoned with. I'm not part of Anonymous, and I'm going to push this out as much as I possibly can. What's amazing was on President Trump's Truth Social page. All right, that's where I pulled that from. And it was a great laydown of exactly what happened and why we want the jamokes you see on your screen in prison garb. So think about what happened here. We had the intelligence community and FBI burying evidence that exonerated President Trump and in many respects exonerated Russia. All the while, now I'm no fan of Russia, but you had Barack Obama putting sanctions down on Russian military leaders for show, which means he ruined the lives of guys who are probably bad dudes, but not for the reason that he should have. He ruined their lives financially because he wanted to make a show of it. Look at us persecuting these Russians that were involved in trying to steal the election when it was all a phony, fake fraud. That's how far they went. General Flynn, who's going to be on the Real America's Voice show tonight, called it the greatest crime in American history. I might disagree only because they didn't manage to totally pull it off. They didn't manage to steal the election from President Trump the first time around. They did manage it the second time, but they didn't manage it the third time. So their ultimate goal was to stop President Trump. They were unsuccessful of doing that. And you know how everything has a way of working out in the end? In the end, I don't think we'd see as a successful President Trump as we're seeing this term if he would have won a second term back in 2020. And the reason being is he had 4 years to assess how to go about taking our government back. He was still in the whirlwind of fighting the deep state, not knowing who he could trust in his office. This allowed him to bring in people that he ultimately can trust and not make some of the same mistakes that he made the first time around. So everything happens for a reason in many respects. Now, with that, Tulsi Gabbard went on with Maria Bartiromo, and this is what she had to say.
No question in my mind that this intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered be published, which contained a manufactured intelligence document. It's worse than even politicization of intelligence. It was manufactured intelligence that sought to achieve President Obama and his team's objective, which was undermining President Trump's presidency and subverting the will of the American people. So yes, next week we will be releasing more detailed information about how exactly this took place and the extent to which this information was sought to be hidden from the American people, hidden from officials who would be in a position to do something about it. And that's really the point here that I think is most important, Maria, and you said it in your opening. Accountability is essential for the future of our country, for the American people to have any sense of trust in the integrity of our democratic republic. Accountability, action, prosecution, indictments for those who are responsible for trying to steal our democracy is essential for us to make sure that this never happens to our country again.
All right, listen to me. Accountability is essential. We've got a statute of limitations on non-capital crimes at 5 years. That's passed. There's some types of fraud. The statute of limitations is 10 years. When it comes to the 2016 election, you got basically 6 months left to run this out before the 10 years is up. And then there's treason. Treason, the statute of limitations. There is none. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to find a Republican who will actually do it. You'll get a lot of talk about it. They'll talk a big game about treason, but nobody will get behind the idea of actually charging them with treason. Could Pam Bondi do it? Maybe. I will be shocked if they do. And I say that to put the pressure on them. Shock me, Pam Bondi. Shock me, federal prosecutors. Shock me and charge Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Clapper, Comey with treason. Now, I've made the argument about President Trump that he had immunity when he was president. Barack Obama may. Because he was carrying out the official duties of his presidency, even though unconstitutional, even though criminal. I make the argument that he has absolute immunity. I don't know if you're going to be able to get Obama and Biden. I don't know. I'd like to let the legal scholars square that out for me. But certainly Clapper and Comey, they are off limits. They are in limits to go after. And nothing should stop us from doing that. So Joe Biden wants to issue pardons. They were all phony, fake, fraud pardons. Anna Paulina Luna and Byron Donalds responded to all of this. I'm going to play that here in just a second. But before we do, I want to tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. 972-PATRIOT is the number to call. Use the promo code GRANT for a free month service. I have a Patriot Mobile phone. I choose the network I want to be on, okay? That's AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. I choose it. And in fact, I have 2 networks on this phone. So I always have service no matter what city I go to. Only Patriot Mobile can provide that. It's really quite amazing. So this is why I want you to go to Patriot Mobile, sign up for their service. And as a benefit, you get a company that invests literally in pushing conservative values across the country, from free speech to gun rights to helping programs like this spread the message of freedom. PatriotMobile.com/Grant, 972-PATRIOT, 100% U.S.-based customer service. Use the promo code GRANT for a free month service. Why you have not made the switch, I do not know, so make it today. And tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right. Byron Donalds and Anna Paulina Luna, two of my favorite congressmen. Here we go.
Saw with the report that Tulsi put out, I mean, we're talking about there needs to be criminal prosecution and arrest. You know, lying under oath, putting out a false intelligence report, that's a violation of 18 U.S. Code 1001 that comes with a 7-year prison sentence and up to $250,000 fine. But we're talking about something more nefarious than this. I think that this is a perfect example and reason why there needs to be FISA reform as well. As you know, Maria, that false intelligence report resulted in FISA courts issuing a warrant to illegally surveillance the president of the United States now. And what I can tell you is if we don't stop this, if we don't actually say this will not be tolerated, this is not a Democrat or Republican thing. This is about the health and the sanctity of a constitutional republic. And so there needs to be arrests. This is not partisan. This is simply illegal what they did, and we're simply upholding the law.
I mean, it's just extraordinary. How do you believe they got away with that? Byron, what about that? How was it that this cabal of senior people in the Obama White House was able to convince so many people of this lie when they had no
Trump will not
Before,
be
excuse me, hold on.
Well, they got away with it.
Before Byron Donalds answers that question, roll it back a little bit. Before he answers that question, she called it a cabal. That's what it was. She asked, how were they able to get away with it? Why? Because the entire government was in on it. They may not have known all the details, but they were willing to turn a blind eye for those that weren't in the know on it. Everybody else was willing to turn a blind eye, including many Rhino Republicans. And so you had a community that was built by Democrats. Barack Obama flooded the intelligence community, the State Department, the FBI, with liberals to carry out his agenda. The FBI and the CIA turned out to be Barack Obama's Gestapo. They flooded it with liberals, so they didn't even need to work for the buy-in. They had the buy-in already. But let's hear Byron Donalds' take.
people of this lie when they had no evidence whatsoever of it?
Well, they got away with it because once they leaked these false narratives and false reports, you had big media organizations who just went lock, stock, and barrel, did not fact check, did not go and do the extra work, did not do any due diligence whatsoever. They just followed and towed the company line. And then you have the deep careers in the intelligence community who either they were afraid of being fired or having their clearances revoked, or B, were so concerned about a Donald Trump presidency that they felt it was okay to concoct false information into the American people, into the body politic. So Anna is completely correct. There need to be arrests on this matter. People need to go to jail on this because this is about the republic. This is not about one president. It is about the presidency and the continuation of our country.
Well, it is true. They tried to steal all that from us. They tried to subvert the will of the American people, and they were almost successful at it. So American Thinker wrote a pretty decent piece summing up all of this stuff. And I'll go through a little bit of it because it lays it out in a terrific fashion. Now, Tulsi Gabbard's document dump of 114 pages follows up a May release detailing Nellie Orr's sworn testimony and misrepresentations about Crossfire Hurricane and an early July declassification of the 2016 intelligence assessment on Russian interference. The newest release is the Russian hoax memo and timeline as how this all came through. So here's what becomes clear, and American Thinker puts this pretty clearly. One, the intelligence community repeatedly concluded before and after Election Day that Russia lacked both the intent and capability to alter U.S. vote totals. Okay? September of 2016, this is before the election, an IC assessment found that, quote, foreign adversaries do not have and will probably not obtain the capabilities to successfully execute widespread undetected cyber attacks on election infrastructure. All right. Two, those conclusions were suppressed or overwritten at the direction of senior Obama officials and probably Obama himself after Trump won, and definitely Obama after we learned about this meeting in the Oval Office where Obama says go make a separate intelligence assessment. So talking points drafted for DNI James Clapper on December 7th, 2016, this is after we know President Trump won, stated flatly, quote, foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. Yet, the president's daily brief containing those conclusions was killed hours later. So they're holding back this information from Barack Obama, I believe because he didn't want it, and he tells them to hold it back. Here's an example of one of the emails, okay? I believe I can, let me do this. I'm going to put the email up on the screen. We do this on the fly here, but that's okay. Here we go. The email says, quote, I took the intent of this email to get the basic starting point regarding Russia. We agree with Russia probably is not and will not trying to influence the election by using cyber means to manipulate computer-enabled election infrastructure. We're going further, quote, while Russia has some capability to conduct cyber manipulation of election infrastructure, we judge that efforts by them or others to change the outcome of the election through cyber means would be detected. That's a key element of our cyber-focused PDB. So what they're saying there is, we don't see it, folks. We just don't see it. So again, now according to this American thinker and the documents provided by Tulsi Gabbard, a hastily ordered intelligence community assessment released January 6, 2017, relied in part on the since discredited Steele dossier and became the cornerstone of years-long investigations and impeachment efforts despite internal dissent, warning it was politicized intelligence, meaning honest folks inside the intelligence community wrote honest things. The Steele dossier is political garbage. Russians aren't screwing with our elections. And yet, what happened? Barack Obama didn't just ignore it all. He ordered them to change the timeline. Now, let's go back through here some of the things that Tulsi Gabbard along the way had warned us about.
To call me a treasonous liar was saying, hey, there are U.S.-funded, DOD-funded biolabs in Ukraine that should be secured because there's a war going on over there, and the last thing we or the world needs is anything going on in those biolabs being unleashed in a way that could pose a threat to people. That was seen as...
but I should just say, you weren't guessing.
No.
You got that, or it was confirmed in any case, in a public exchange in the Senate between Marco Rubio of Florida, the sitting Republican senator, and Victoria Nuland, the Undersecretary of State, who volunteered it on camera.
Yes.
So...
And it was on the DOD website. Talking about their long history of funding these biolabs, not only in Ukraine, but in many other countries.
Of course, because
around the world.
Outside U.S. law. Right, so they can, and it's bioweapons research, obviously. But you were just, I don't even think you said that. You just said basically what the Undersecretary of State said.
So there she's talking about biolabs in Ukraine. Tulsi Gabbard has surprised me. Remember, I was a big critic of hers. I was someone who did not trust her. I am beginning to trust her in this role. Do I think she disagrees with me on some certain fundamental things when it comes to conservatism? You can't run for president as a Democrat and think like Stinchfield on everything. I mean, it's just not the case. But when it comes to this intelligence, when it comes to wanting the truth, when it comes to being sincere about exposing evildoers in America, I think Tulsi Gabbard is sincere. She did it with the biolabs in Ukraine. She's doing it now. I mean, even this is her testimony before Congress. Let's not forget this.
Here are just a few other examples. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice. And yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this must end.
Yeah, it must end is right. Will it ever? The reason it doesn't end is because nobody gets held accountable. They think they're untouchable. This is how Democrats operate. Sadly, it's how rhino Republicans in Washington operate. So they give a free pass to criminals in L.A. and Chicago. They give a free pass to criminals in Chicago. Why should we be surprised? They give a free pass to criminals in New York. They give a free pass to criminals in Washington, D.C. They give a free pass to criminals at the highest levels of government, including criminals inside the White House, that cabal that Maria Bartiromo was talking about, a cabal of criminals who are running a soft coup of the United States of America. You could call it a hard coup, quite frankly. And to me, it's absolutely offensive that they will get away with it. Mark my words. Again, unless you charge them with treason. She talked about John Brennan lying to Congress. That was in 2013, the first example she used. Lying to Congress. Do you know what the statute of limitations is for lying to Congress? 5 years. That's the easiest one to get many of these mopes on. Lying to Congress. The hardest is going to be treason because you're not going to get a lot of people who are going to vote for it. Even though that is what should happen. But let's go through. I saw this video that spelled out what we are up against here. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna play that in just a moment. But before I do, I want to tell you about my friends over at the Wellness Company. Look, folks, do you know about parasites? 60 million Americans have them. It is absolutely disgusting. You can get a 3-month supply of this membendazole and ivermectin concoction, backed by science, honored by a Nobel Peace Prize. This is the Wellness Company's Parasite Cleanse, sold out 3 times. It is now available to you, okay? twc.health/grant. I want you to take a look at what happens. 60 million Americans get affected by it. Goes into your brain, your spine, causes brain fog, causes all kinds of problems, worms in the fish, you name it. Absolutely disgusting. This is what happens when you have pets. It gets in the water, you name it. The Wellness Company Cleanse can help you get rid of these parasites from your doctor. So go to twc.health/grant, use the promo code GRANT. And then, of course, don't forget about the emergency medical kits with prescription medications, including ivermectin, Z-Pak in here, amoxicillin, a whole slew of antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics are going to help you and your family in times of need. You don't have to go to the grocery store. You'll have the kit on hand. You just start the course of antibiotics right away. Get with the Wellness Company today, twc.health/grant, and use that promo code GRANT. All right, so I saw a video that just really made me angry because it did a great job of spelling out what we're up against.
It's text messages between senior FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page.
There will be no question about the outcome of this election.
And she got ahead of herself. This utterly stunned this campaign.
Head home. You should get some sleep. We'll have more to say tomorrow.
Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power.
The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy. We want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
These declassified documents that were just released.
Officials in the Obama administration were asking for the identities to be unmasked of Americans.
Unmasking of aides and staffers of the incoming president.
The basic charge, political spying.
To disrupt the peaceful transfer of power.
Unmasking of American citizens. It could be a real problem.
Why is it that the unmasking of Flynn somehow ended up in the pages of the Washington Post?
I know nothing about those moves to investigate Michael Flynn.
The vice president said that yesterday, and then the last name on this list is Joe Biden.
The Obama administration was bitter. They wanted to do everything they could to undermine the incoming Trump administration.
Really designed to sabotage and really upend the new administration.
An outgoing president and a vice president and a Washington Post columnist and the FBI setting up an incoming administration. Wow. That's a real conspiracy, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Obamagate is an understatement. I mean, I guess that's what it is, though, because he is the head of the crime syndicate that we know as the Democrat Party. So it's been called Russian collusion. I don't think we should call it that anymore. I think we should call it Obama collusion. The Obama collusion case. The Obama collusion case because he engaged in collusion with fellow Democrats, with the media, and even more importantly, the federal intelligence agencies and federal law enforcement to set President Trump up for destruction, to set the country up for failure. When they couldn't steal the election, they wanted to burn America down. If you aren't mad about that, I don't know what to tell you. Now, remember, I'm telling you, no one is above the law. Do you remember? That sounds familiar, because that, folks, is what Democrats said about President Trump. Will they back up what they said before? If no one is above the law, then shouldn't Barack Obama not be above the law? Biden, Clapper, Comey, Brennan? If no one is above the law, those people need to be held to account, and Democrats ought to agree with it. The same people that said this about President Trump.
No one, especially the president, is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one 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 is above the law. No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Ha ha. Well, that was released by President Trump, that entire video, again, on True Social. President Trump is having a field day with this. You can say he wants to distract from Epstein. You can say whatever you want. It doesn't matter. This is legit. This is reality. This is what's going on. This is about treason against America. President Trump is on it. The DOJ is on it. But here's where we need to put the pressure on. Here's where we need to say, you know what? This is what we want. And I'm going to ask you, what is it that you want? Is it the same thing that I want? These people held accountable. And I think the only way to do it right now is through the charge of treason. I really do. That is, folks, what is at play. Now, we talked about this on my radio program, and I want to play some of that because this was the reaction of some of the people there. So I will dip in with Jen Horn and myself to get the reaction from the people, from their mouths, of what they would like to see happen.
Collusion scheme, this hoax, so that Trump would have to deal with it as president. And here,
I think that people want accountability. This has been a common theme going all the way back to Hillary Clinton and her email scandal.
Mm-hmm.
People want accountability. I hate to break the news to everybody. I still don't think we're going to see it. President Trump releasing a video of Barack Obama being put in handcuffs in the Oval Office. I still don't see it happening.
I'm with you. I think it's great that we release this stuff. I would like the information to get out there, but it's hard to do. It's hard to move these things. It's hard to make those pieces move.
What do the people say? We get called?
Yeah, we have a lot. So let's hear real quick from Tulsi, and then we're headed right to the phones. 855-785-8255. Here is Tulsi Gabbard this weekend.
What these documents detail, to me, in my view, cannot be explained as anything but a treasonous conspiracy. This is not so different from what we saw under George W. Bush, when we saw that manufactured intelligence claiming there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq that kicked off a war that changed our country, that changed the lives of so many people like myself who went and served in those wars. The implications of manufactured intelligence are real. I would even say that what we are seeing here has an even greater impact than what we've seen in the past, because it speaks again to the foundation of our Constitution and our democratic republic, which is why accountability is so critical.
All right. So that is Tulsi Gabbard. Are you confident that we are going to see justice served here? I am happy this information's out, but we haven't seen anything huge. This would be a big takedown if it happens. We'll see. What do you think? Trent, Hermosa Beach, are you optimistic this morning, Trent?
I am very optimistic, and everybody's looking for that big headline. But look, it's a criminal conspiracy. DNI Gabbard has the goods on them. They've got them all there. This is obvious. And you know what? Make them squirm. Obama is no Trump. He can't take the pit in his stomach. And they're guilty. And I hope like heck this gets out and this just drip, 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 and show them. And people figure this out, because they've been doing this way too long to way too many people. And it happened to Tulsi. It happened to Cash. It happened to Trump. And Brennan, Clapper, and Comey are dirty, dirty, dirty.
Are they dirty?
All right.
Thank you, Trent.
Thank you, Trent, for the phone call. Let me explain one of the issues here. It's called statute of limitations. You've got a 5-year statute of limitations on non-capital crimes. That means that statute of limitations gone.
Done. Yep.
There is some fraud cases that could probably be brought here with some creativity that have a statute of limitations of 10 years. Guess what? We're almost at 10 years. Okay? So you'd have to really start working very quickly now. As for treason, there is no statute of limitations on treason. As much as I want to convict Barack Obama of treason, you're never going to get it. You're never going to get that happen.
Do you know what I would rather see? Rather than these guys, maybe I'm just crazy here, but it just seems so hard to imagine these guys actually getting thrown into jail for their crimes, which they deserve. If they did commit them, they do deserve it. But it would be hard to imagine that happening. But to get them all up and actually tell the story so that the people could hear, transparency would make me feel better.
It would be real nice if one of these ass clowns came forward
and just said, here's the scheme.
And said, here's the scheme. Whether they do it in a friendly place being interviewed or whether they do it before Congress. But come forward. Clapper. Comey will never do it. Brennan will never do it. I mean, listen, I call them A-clowns for a reason because that's what they are. They're not going to do this.
I think the closest one you'd get would be Comey. Comey's enough of a dweeb
arrogant
machine.
SOB
Yeah.
that he would do it just for the publicity.
Right, to sell a book. All right, 855-785-8255. Glenn from Phoenix. I'm sure you're super optimistic this morning, right, Glenn?
Walk it back, Jen and Grant. You guys need to walk it back. That last caller, this is hilarious. After that last caller said everything, Grant went and took a couple of steps back because you're going to realize what I'm about to say is true. Not a damn thing's going to happen to any of these people. The last 8 years, we had 3 special counsels and 1 inspector general. We had special counsel Bob Mueller, who's a former FBI director. We had special counsel Herr that did the document case, and then we also had special counsel the guy John Durham, and nothing happened to that. Then we also had in between that, we had an inspector general investigation by Horowitz. Not a damn thing that happened to anybody. I take that back. Kleinsmith, who was a low-level FBI agent, got arrested, and in the very end, he got exonerated. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Donald Trump is doing this because he's gaslighting us, because he's trying to change the narrative of the Epstein files, and he cannot do it. So he's trying to basically throw us a bone. This is a bone for MAGA world and say, oh, we're investigating these people. And at the very end, not a damn thing's going to happen. And we'll wait about – what you guys should do is every 30 days, just do a monthly report. See where we're at, okay? And I'll call you guys back in 6 months, and I'm going to say – not a damn thing happened to any of these people. You guys are being gaslit. And for the people on our side that have a megaphone.
Glenn, hold on a second. Hold on a second. You know, this is why you tick me off, because you don't listen to the program. What did I say coming out of this? That nothing will happen.
You just walked it back right now. After Trent from Hermosa Beach was all optimistic. You walked it back.
Hey, guess what, Glenn? Guess what, Glenn? Trent from Hermosa Beach doesn't work for this program. I started off saying that we have a real problem with Republicans getting any kind of action from anybody. So I don't know what you're talking about. Walk this back. I explained to you why the statute of limitations. I explained to you why treason wasn't going to happen. And you're telling us that all of a sudden you're coming up with this brilliant idea. This is why we get annoyed with you.
Well, you get annoyed because I'm telling you the truth, and everything that I tell you guys, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months down the road,
because his truth was reiterating exactly what I told you.
Right, and what I agreed with you on, thinking it's very hard to imagine that there is going to be.
He wants to argue so bad that and so we had him banned for how long?
I don't know.
I'm not going to ban him. He can still call in and annoy me because I'm sure it makes great radio. I'm sure people are laughing how upset he makes Stinchfield. But
it's fun. Hey,
whatever.
Radar, what's up, buddy?
Oh, just something interesting. So I talk to Glenn on the phone almost every day, and every single time he calls in, 9 times out of 10, he says, "I don't listen to your program anymore, but I just want to say," et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Maybe he plays the game. This is fun. He guesses what we're going to say, and then he answers that, which would be fun. All right, 855-785-8255.
Dan at the phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Dan. I was looking at another screen.
As someone who has talked to him on the phone as well, I think he just wants credit for being early to it. That's what it is. See, you two are correct, but he said he heard it 6 months ago or at the beginning of the administration. So he just wants you to basically say, "You're right, Glenn. You had it. You had it first."
I think you're right. You're right. Yep.
Except, let me tell you something, Jen. You and I both know this. We've been talking about no action, nobody getting anything for years. This is a common. You're not breaking any news when you're a conservative purveyor of conservative news saying there's not going to be any action. This isn't going out on a limb, by the way.
It's just looking around.
This is just looking around. Exactly.
All right. So on that happy note, I am sure Edward in Irwindale is super excited today. Hello, Edward. Oh, boy.
Good morning. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. How are you? How was your weekend?
It was good. How was yours? I had a busy weekend.
I loved it. But, I've just got to say, Mr. Stinchfield is so correct on this. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing.
Are you upset at all, Edward, when you hear this? Do you believe the allegations? Edward is our resident liberal that calls in. Are you upset with the thought that Barack Obama would order his team to go make an alternative assessment to damage Trump?
And do you think he was justified, Edward? I'd add that in, too.
I don't believe anything at all about he made some different assessment to go after Trump. That's propaganda. That didn't happen. You know what?
Okay, so
happen?
the emails and stuff, you think the Trump administration concocted them?
You know what did happen? Someone with the Trump administration met with the Russians and said to them, "Hey, if you got some good dirt on it, give it to me because I love it." That was a Trump administration official that did that. Okay, met with a Russian. That's called collusion.
So
okay?
I'm asking you. He's talking about, I guess, Don Jr. and that Russian woman at
The
Trump
Maria,
Tower or
yeah.
whatever. And nothing ever came of it. But
no, nothing.
But Edward, I'm just asking you, and I'm asking this legitimately. I want your answer. Do you think that they forged those emails that they were showing that Tulsi Gabbard released? You think that's all
fake,
Tulsi, and they're fake?
No, I don't think they're fake. I just don't think that anybody's real concerned about that. I don't think that at all. If Ms. Gabbard had anything, it'd be 24/7 coverage. They'd be trying to take Obama down. They'd be trying to.
Don't you think the news media kind of likes Obama and they don't like Trump all that much?
Well, everybody with a brain in their head likes Obama and don't like Trump.
I don't know. I got a brain
and
in
they
my
call
head,
people
so
they
Janet,
call
we're
people who like Trump cultists. Like that sounds like cult-like behavior to me,
does.
Edward. But I love you. I'm glad you had a good weekend. Thanks for the phone call.
Jen, I'll tell you what.
855-785-8255.
These liberals, they refuse to see anything, like anything at all. And so, you know what? That's fine, because that's the world we live in. Everybody's blind. Hey, I would accuse them of making stuff up, and guess what? Now I'm right. We accused them of making it up, and it turns out they did make it up.
Yeah, we had evidence to that very early on that no one wanted to pay attention to until now. And then not even now. I'm sure you're not going to hear about this on the big news shows today on MSNBC or on CNN.
You want to do something bold, Republicans? Charge Barack Obama with treason.
Can you imagine? 855-785-8255, 6 o'clock club members. Will that happen?
I doubt it. I doubt it'll happen because I don't think anybody has the balls to do it. And there's some questions about the sitting president. He may be the only one that's immune to all that. Excuse me, a sitting president at the time being Barack Obama. I'm not saying that there's not a way around that. There may be. It's going to take legal scholars bigger than me, because I'm not really a legal scholar, but I like to pretend to be one. But it is going to pose some challenges. The rest of them, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Susan Rice. I'd even like to look into Gina Haspel. She was President Trump's CIA director, but I think she was an insider when all this was going on. She's got some answering to do as well. So what do I tell you? When we're in the fight of our lives, folks, you have to do everything you can do to stay healthy. You got to do everything you can do to have the energy to keep the fight up. Well, there's this My 555 challenge that has come out with Energized Health, and I got to talk to the founder of Energized Health about this. Just check this short video out.
When we first heard the 555, and we've been hearing you on RAV for quite a while, and we finally made that decision. But I have lost 53 pounds since we started.
Okay, my weight change was 17 pounds. I'm melting away. Well, the cool thing is we are 86 inches closer together. We tell everybody it has brought us together, but not just physically, spiritually as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Your program is absolutely amazing.
This has been an awesome journey so far.
All right, so it is absolutely amazing. She said 17 pounds. I lost 15 pounds on the Energized Health program. Love it. Absolutely love it. The founder of Energized Health is, of course, John Jubilee. John, from just that interview, there's so much to break down there, but the smiles may be your best promotion yet.
Well, I'll tell you what, it puts a smile on my face, Grant. I never get tired of hearing the thousands and tens of thousands of stories. And, obviously you were a guy in good shape. So of course you lost 15, which was amazing for someone that was in a great shape like you, or for a woman like her to lose 17. But notice the husband lost 53 pounds. He lost 10 of the fat blobs. He lost 10 of those fat blobs. But it's so joyful, Grant. And the bigger thing, the health, of course, we want people to be healthy, but don't you love it that you could tell they're filled with joy, they're closer together spiritually, relationally, and that's part of what we live for at Energized Health, is to help you, the listener, to help you have your best health, you to have your best marriage, your best relationships with your children, with your grandchildren for your whole life. Yeah,
All
puts
right.
a smile on my face.
And we talk about this total body transformation, mind, body, and soul. And yet you're getting so much success. You've got this My 555 challenge now. I'll put the website address up there, my555challenge.com. Tell me what that is, John.
Yeah, well, here's what it is. And I would encourage people that there's really two aspects of it. But the first one is, Grant, we just spend, this will be a Monday through Friday at your leisure. You could join us live, or you can watch it, you can watch it on the live video replay. But it's about 45 minutes a day. We walk people through the first steps, of how do you do the 180? How do you get your life headed in the right direction? Because most of us, if you're like me, I was headed in the wrong direction for so long, with bone on bone in my knees and high blood pressure, hypertension, lack of energy. Can anybody feel me out there? Anybody in the same category that I was? Probably many of you watching. And so, guys, we got to get it turned around. So in the My 555 challenge, it's all about you. How do you lose that first 5 pounds? How do you lose that first 5 pounds of fat? How do you make those first changes to get yourself headed in the right direction? And Grant, I would encourage people this too, is look, most people don't even know what is the number one health marker that we all need to know in our health. And I'm just going to ask you a question. What is it? So some of you are thinking, it's my blood pressure. It's my A1C. It's my cholesterol. It's none of those. The number one health marker we all need to know is, what is my hydration of my body? Why? Well, because your body was designed to be about 60% water. And if you don't have a healthy hydration number, that's the first, foremost, most important thing scientifically that you have to take care of. So if you've never had that measured, or your doctor does not have the device to measure it, because it takes a bioimpedance device to measure that, we're going to give you an offer today that when you go sign up at the my555challenge.com, just upgrade yourself today. Just hit the upgrade button. It's $99, and we will FedEx you this device. And with that upgrade, that does include a free consultation, which you'll get in a special additional session. So you'll get to talk to an expert of what your number is and what your number means. But we'll FedEx you the device, you'll get the measurement, and then during your 555, we'll schedule you to talk to one of our experts of what your number is and what it means. Just hit the upgrade to the VIP so you can know what is your cellular hydration number.
All right. And I will tell you, John, that I got one of those devices from you. I started just under 60%. I don't remember what I started with. I think it was like 57 and change. And now I'm consistently between 60 and 61% after your program and all the things the people talked about. I'm having the same success. In fact, my testosterone went in the right direction. Blood pressure came down. Joint pain eliminated. I actually think brain clarity was a result of all of this, and not to mention my 15 pounds. And so with that, John, I give you the last word here.
Yeah, well, the last word that I would share with people, Grant, is, guys, when it comes to our health, if we don't do anything, what's going to happen? Some of you are saying it's going to stay the same. That's not true. When it comes to health, if we don't do something different, it only gets worse. It only gets worse. So could I just encourage you today, stop going the wrong direction, because it's just going to keep getting worse. Take a simple action step here for yourself. And look, you guys know and trust Grant. He's been around a long time. He would not lead you wrong. I've been helping people for 28 years, tens of thousands of people, just one success story after another. So, join us this Monday through Friday. Do your registration. If you want to get your health measurement and get a special consultation, just upgrade. Hey, come on, it's less than $100. but it'll change your life, give you some information that you've never had. We'll share with you this breakthrough science. We filed 3 patents, Grant, now on this science. And we have hundreds of doctors that are our client. And you know what the doctors say to us? You cracked the code. You cracked the code of health and wellness. You're the first person that ever went to the root cause, the true root cause of inflammation. So everybody thinks inflammation is the root cause of disease, of illness, of joint pain, of energy. But the root cause of inflammation is cellular dehydration.
So here's what I want you to do. And thank you, John. This is great stuff. Go to energizedhealth.com, my555challenge.com. The link is at energizedhealth.com as well. And check this out. You will not regret it. That I promise you. Okay, folks. Moving on. I'm going to tell you right now that when I think about what happened, nobody does anything. They remain silent. And I saw this clip from Tucker Carlson.
Members of Congress are terrified of the intel agencies. I'm not guessing at that. They've told me that.
So why is it that members of Congress don't do anything about wild intelligence agencies acting in a wild fashion, trying to run a coup on America? Maybe it's as Tucker says. Maybe it's because the intelligence community members on those committees in Congress that have oversight, quote, oversight over the intel community, they're scared. They're scared of the CIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and other agencies like that will spy on them.
Including people on the Intel Committee, including people who run the Intel Committee, the people whose job it is to oversee and keep in line these enormous, secretive agencies whose budgets we can't even know. They're black budgets. They're the parents. The agencies are the children. They're afraid of the agencies. That's not compatible with democracy. Democracy is a really simple system, even representative democracy like ours. The people rule. They do so through elections. They express their preference through voting. They send their people to the capital city to run the government on their behalf. Whenever you have unelected people who are not accountable to anyone making the biggest decisions, you don't have a democracy. You have something else, another system. I would call it a tyranny or whatever you want to call it. It's not a democracy. So that's like super obvious. It's playing out in front of everyone and no one cares and no one does anything about it. And I think the reason is because they're threatened. And if you look at the committee chairmen who allowed this shit to happen year after year, they're all, and I don't know, people say, oh, they're compromised or being blackmailed or whatever. I don't have evidence of that, but I know them and they all have things to hide. I know that for a fact. And so it's not a stretch of imagination to imagine that, some committee chairman who's allowing warrantless spying on Americans to continue or whatever abuse they're allowing, knowing fully or hiding the truth about UAPs, ignoring the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023. Like, why are they doing that? It's not impossible to imagine that some guy with a drinking problem or a weird sex life, and that's very common up there, that's why they're doing it. Because they don't want to be exposed. I don't have evidence of that. I don't have proof of that.
Right.
But that's not a crazy thing to assume that could be happening. And I said to somebody, a very powerful person, the other day in a conversation in my kitchen, an elected official, holds a really senior position, a very famous person. I was going crazy. I was so mad about all this stuff and about the warrantless spying and about the funding for these insane wars. And I said to the guy who serves in one of the legislative bodies, I got so mad my dogs were afraid. They're like, well, why are you yelling? Because I don't yell at home. But I was like, all these people are controlled. They're all, got weird sex lives and all these things are hiding and they're being blackmailed by the intel agencies. And he said, and I'm quoting, I know. I was like, okay, so at this point we're just sort of admitting that's real? Like, why do we allow that to continue?
We allow it to continue because the people that make the decisions are the ones that are afraid of the intel community. The people that make the decisions are also. If you think members of Congress are afraid of the intel community, you don't think federal prosecutors are? You don't think judges are? You don't think the entire system has been threatened by the underbelly of the deep state? That is the IC intelligence community. Okay? That's why nothing is done. And Tucker, I know he's not naive over this, and he's talking to Joe Rogan. But none of this is a surprise. And I play it for you because I know you're like me and you trust a guy like Tucker Carlson. I play it for you because I know you're like me. You knew this already. But we've got to keep hammering it home because here's where the pressure counts. You know how we saw President Trump? He lashed out against the supporters that wanted Epstein files, and we all felt kind of hurt that he said, oh, my past supporters want Epstein files. But what happened? We kept the pressure up gently. Look, we all love President Trump. We all have his back. We all know that we'll go to the grave with President Trump. This guy is an American hero. He's rescued our nation. But we gently put that pressure on, and what did he do? He ended up saying, okay, let's release more of these Epstein files. That's your power. I try to harness your power on this program by pushing it out, telling you to don't stop talking about anything. Now what I want you talking about today, tomorrow, the next day, is bringing these ass clowns to justice. These jamokes, these mopes, these criminals, these coup leaders to justice. That is what has to happen. I'm not convinced it will, but we will not stop trying. All right, folks. That is going to do it for us today. I so appreciate all of you watching. Don't forget, the website is GrantStinchfield.com, GrantStinchfield.com. If you're watching on Rumble, sign up, subscribe to the channel. YouTube as well. We need subscribers. YouTube's a ghost. Look at 4 people watching on YouTube. You got to be kidding me. Where we had hundreds on Rumble at the height of this program today. So, again, subscribe, like, share. It all helps. GrantStinchfield.com is all the places you can find me. Don't forget about A Real America's Voice show tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Stinchfield 1776 on most of the social media platforms. God bless you, folks. I appreciate all of you. And thank you so much for watching.